Today we celebrate feminine beauty in this theme and era, expressed through style, elegance, posture, and presence. Picture the autumn of 1964. Young women stride across ivy-covered quads with an effortless grace that would define a generation. Their cardigans catch the golden light, their pleated skirts move with purpose. And their leather satchels hold dreams as much as textbooks. This was campus style at its most authentic. When education and elegance walked hand in hand. What made these college women so unforgettable? It wasn't just their clothes, though those were remarkable. It was how they carried themselves through a world that was rapidly changing around them. These were the daughters of the greatest generation, the first wave of women flooding into universities in unprecedented numbers. By 1965, female enrollment had doubled from the previous decade. And their presence on campus brought a new kind of sophistication to student life. The 1960s campus represented something revolutionary in American culture. For the first time, young women from coast to coast shared a common aesthetic vocabulary that spoke of serious academic pursuit mixed with youthful femininity. The look emerged from practical needs, comfort for long library sessions, warmth for morning lectures, durability for daily bicycle rides, but it evolved into something far more significant. These women were pioneers, blazing trails through lecture halls and laboratory spaces that had been predominantly male for centuries. The silhouette was unmistakably feminine, yet completely functional. The classic cardigan became their signature piece. Usually in cashmere or fine wool, often in soft neutrals like cream, camel, or powder blue. These weren't the bulky sweaters of previous decades, but tailored pieces that skimmed the waist and flattered the figure without constraining movement. Beneath the cardigan, you'd find crisp white blouses with rounded Peter Pan collars, or delicate bow ties, often from department stores like Lord & Taylor or specialty campus shops that understood this new demographic. The skirts told their own story of changing times. Align cuts that fell just below the knee, usually in woltweed or cotton corduroy, in rich autumn colors, burgundy, forest green, navy blue. These skirts moved beautifully as young women hurried between classes, the pleats catching light and shadow as they climbed library steps or settled into lecture hall seats. Brands like Villager and McCullen became synonymous with this collegiate elegance, offering pieces that could transition seamlessly from morning seminar to evening study group. Their accessories spoke of both practicality and careful attention to detail. Leather penny loafers, often from Baswegians, became the preferred footwear, comfortable enough for long walks across sprawling campuses, yet polished enough to convey seriousness of purpose. During colder months, these were paired with knee-high wool socks in coordinating colors, a detail that showed how these young women understood the art of layering. The famous leather satchel completed the look, a structured bag large enough for textbooks and notebooks, yet refined enough to complement their carefully chosen outfits. These bags, often in rich brown or burgundy leather, developed a beautiful patina over years of use, becoming treasured companions through 4 years of academic discovery. The way these women wore their satchels, sometimes over one shoulder, sometimes clutched against their hip, became part of their distinctive campus presence. Hair was kept neat and manageable, usually in a shoulder-length bob that could be quickly styled between classes. The famous flip, achieved with large rollers and careful brushing, created volume and movement that complemented the clean lines of their clothing. This was practical beauty at its finest. Styles that looked polished in morning light and maintained their shape through long days of academic pursuits. What made this look so compelling was how it balanced opposing forces, youth and sophistication, comfort and elegance, individuality and conformity. These college women had created something entirely new. A style that announced their serious academic intentions while celebrating their feminine identity. as they moved through campus spaces with their books and bikes and carefully chosen cardigans. They were writing a new chapter in both fashion and social history. The autumn of 1964 marked a pivotal moment when feminine beauty found its intellectual expression through perfectly curated campus style. These cardigans weren't just sweaters, they were armor for a generation of young women claiming their place in academic spaces. The finest examples came from Scotland, with intricate cable knits or delicate pearl buttons that caught classroom light just so. When paired with circle pins or small brooches, often gifts from mothers or grandmothers, these cardigans became personnel signatures. Each woman developed her own way of wearing them. Some preferred the sleeves pushed up to reveal delicate watches, others wore them buttoned just at the collar, creating elegant draping that moved gracefully as they walked. The culture these women inhabited was one of structured elegance and intellectual pursuit. Picture the dormitory rituals of Sunday evenings, young women gathered in common rooms, pressing their skirts for the week ahead while discussing literature assignments or upcoming examinations. Their rooms were sanctuaries of feminine organization, textbooks arranged by color and size, cardigans folded precisely in cedar-lined drawers, pennant flags from their universities creating splashes of school pride against cream-colored walls. Morning routines began before dawn in shared bathrooms where they perfected the art of the 5-minute face. A touch of pale pink lipstick, carefully applied mascara, and perhaps a hint of powder compact their mothers had given them for graduation. These weren't vanity rituals, but efficiency practices. Looking polished and put together was part of their academic armor. A way of commanding respect in spaces where they still had to prove they belonged. The bicycle became their chariot of independence. Campus paths filled with the gentle ring of bicycle bells as young women navigated between dormitories, libraries, and lecture halls. They developed specific techniques for managing their skirts while cycling, a slight adjustment here. A careful positioning there, that became second nature. Many kept wicker baskets on their handlebars, perfect for carrying additional books or the occasional bouquet of autumn leaves collected on rides through campus grounds. Study sessions took on their own social elegance. The main library, with its towering windows and polished wooden tables, became a theater where these young women performed their intellectual dedication. They arranged themselves carefully, cardigans draped over chairbacks, notebooks opened to reveal neat handwriting, pens chosen for both function and aesthetic appeal. The soft rustling of pages and the gentle click of heels against marble floors created the soundtrack of their academic ambitions. Weekend social events required subtle costume changes that showcased their versatility. The same cardigan that served morning chemistry lab could be transformed with a silk scarf and pearl earrings for evening mixer dances. They understood instinctively how to adapt their campus uniform for different occasions, rolling sleeves up for afternoon tennis, adding gloves for formal dinners, switching from penny loafers to low-heeled pumps for cultural events. Tea time became a cherished ritual, often observed in dormitory lounges where they gathered around low tables set with delicate china. These weren't elaborate affairs, but moments of graceful pause in busy academic schedules. They discussed everything from upcoming examinations to current events. Their conversations punctuated by the gentle clink of teacups against saucers and the soft rustle of skirts as they shifted in overstuffed armchairs. The campus bookstore held special significance in their weekly routines. Beyond purchasing required texts, these spaces became galleries where they could admire new arrivals in collegiate fashion. The latest cardigan styles from established brands, the newest cuts in wool skirts, accessories that might complement their existing wardrobes, all were carefully considered investments in their academic personas. Their influence began to ripple outward from campus boundaries into broader American culture, creating ripples that would reshape how young women presented themselves to the world. The 1960s campus aesthetic became the template for feminine intellectual beauty that spread far beyond university gates. What started in dormitory rooms and lecture halls soon appeared in department store windows across America. Retailers like Bonwit Teller and Saks Fifth Avenue created entire collegiate collections to capture this emerging market of young professional women who wanted to carry their campus sophistication into their careers. The cardigan and skirt combination became the uniform of choice for young teachers, librarians, and office workers who understood that looking scholarly was now synonymous with looking stylish. Television programs began featuring characters who embodied this campus-inspired elegance. Young actresses wore carefully coordinated cardigans and pleated skirts in popular shows, their wardrobes speaking to audiences who recognized and aspired to this particular brand of feminine intelligence. Magazine editors at publications like Mademoiselle and 17 devoted entire spreads to back-to-school fashion that extended well beyond actual students. Recognizing that this aesthetic appealed to women of all ages who wanted to project competence and grace, the influence reached into suburban communities where mothers began adopting elements of their daughters' campus style. PTA meetings and community volunteer organizations saw an influx of women wearing updated versions of the collegiate look. Cardigans paired with pencil skirts for a more mature silhouette, penny loafers replaced with low-heeled pumps. But the essential vocabulary of academic elegance remained intact. This cross-generational appeal demonstrated how thoroughly this style had captured the American imagination. Department stores reported unprecedented sales in wool cardigans and aligned skirts during the autumn seasons of the mid-1960s. Buyers traveled to college campuses to observe actual students, taking notes on how they layered pieces and combined colors. What they discovered was a generation of young women who had instinctively understood how to make practical clothing feel luxurious through careful attention to fit, fabric quality, and coordination. The bicycle accessory market exploded as manufacturers recognized a new demographic of style-conscious cyclists. Wicker baskets designed specifically for campus use appeared in sporting goods stores nationwide. Even in cities where bicycles weren't practical for daily transportation, young women began incorporating cycling-inspired accessories into their wardrobes. Structured handbags that mimicked the clean lines of bicycle baskets. Shoes that combined the comfort of athletic wear with the polish of traditional dress shoes. Professional women in fields like journalism, publishing, and education began adopting modified versions of campus style as their work uniforms. The look conveyed exactly the right message: serious, intelligent, approachable yet authoritative. Law firms and medical schools saw an increase in female applicants who understood instinctively that presenting themselves with this particular kind of polished competence could help them navigate traditional email-dominated fields. The three feminine signatures of 1960s campus style created an enduring template for intellectual beauty. First, the art of layering, how a simple cardigan could transform any outfit from casual to sophisticated, teaching women that elegance often lay in the details rather than dramatic statements. These young women understood that true style came from mastering the subtle interplay between different textures, colors, and proportions within a carefully edited wardrobe. Second, the balance between comfort and refinement, proving that feminine beauty didn't require sacrifice of practicality or mobility. Their penny loafers could handle long walks across campus while still looking polished in seminar rooms. Their skirts allowed for graceful movement, whether climbing library stairs or settling into lecture hall seats. This generation pioneered the idea that truly beautiful clothing should enhance rather than constrain a woman's activities and ambitions. Third, the integration of intellectual purpose into personnel presentation. The understanding that how they looked was inseparable from how they wanted to be perceived as thinkers and contributors to academic discourse. Their carefully chosen accessories, from leather satchels to fountain pens, weren't merely functional items but statements about their seriousness of purpose and their rightful place in spaces of learning and growth. This campus-inspired feminine beauty continues to resonate because it captured something essential about women coming into their intellectual power. The Cardigans and bikes and carefully chosen books represented more than a fashion moment. They embodied a generation of young women who refused to choose between being beautiful and being brilliant. As we continue exploring the evolution of feminine style, we'll discover how each era has found its own ways of expressing this same fundamental truth about women's multifaceted nature and unlimited potential.